Escape Room, the first real dud of 2019. It's not really all that surprising. January is kind of the month where they throw their low-hanging fruit out there. I really hope that's not the case for Mr. Glass when it comes out. I hope everybody delivers and nobody holds back. I'm looking at you, Bruce Willis. Don't you dare half-ass your performance in that film. But, on to Escape Room. This movie let me down. The premise is really good, but it was just poorly executed, especially in the beginning and especially at the end. I'll start off with something positive though. I enjoyed the sets. I loved the escape rooms themselves. I've never done escape rooms, but I'd be up for trying them now after watching this movie. But as good as they were, they don't make up for where this film fails, particularly in the story aspect and really in almost everything else. The cast, they do a decent job, they fulfill their roles, but their characters aren't really, convincing. They're all tropes, they're all NPC characters that fulfill a slot. You've got the brainiac shut-in, the underachieving loser, the enthusiastic nerd, the asshole alpha male, and the damaged hero, as well as the kind-hearted simpleton. That's pretty much how, I don't know their names, that's how I remember them. Just because they were one-note characters. They never evolved, they never changed, it was just them the whole way through. And when it comes to the enthusiastic nerd, and you may feel like I'm spoiling things for you, but trust me, this film spoils it for you ahead of time. His whole purpose in this film was just to give exposition on what escape rooms are for the audience. Let you know what they are, how they function, what the rules are, and the second he fulfills that role, gone. But, again, may sound like I'm spoiling some things, but this movie does it for you ahead of time. And that's where I'm going to get into the plot. The beginning of this movie, it's one of those instances where they drop you in the middle of a tense moment that takes place further into the film, ahead of when they actually set everything up, and then cut back to the real start of the film, supposedly to give context to all that. But it doesn't. There's no context. All it does is spoil everything for you, because in this situation, you know that anybody that's not further along in the film is obviously dead. So when you get to that scene in the film, everybody you meet at the real beginning that aren't there by the time you reach that scene, they're gone. So they just spoiled that all for you. But even if you didn't take that into account, there's like 6 characters in this film. You only get background on 3 of them before things get going. Now that's a huge red flag as to who's not going to make it, if they're not even going to bother to give them backstory. Pretty much had me sitting there wondering, so when is this one going to die? When is that one going to die? When is that one going to die? Completely rejecting the idea that they may make it through this, and that's really ruins the tension. But it's not as bad as the ending. No. This is probably the worst ending to this type of film I've ever seen. Why do I say that? Because there's 3 of them. There's 3 moments in this film that feels like it's ending, like it's the end of the film, but then it continues. The first one is good. It's not, inspiring, but it's a good way to end it. The second one, okay, it's not as good as the first one, but, it's not terrible. The third one, though, is meant to help set up the sequel, which just ruins everything. Like, it just completely destroyed what little enjoyment I got out of this film. That series of endings. They should have ended the movie 10 minutes earlier, the first time they faded to black. I'm just gonna say it. Well, I guess that about covers my opinion on the film. I'd give this film, and for those of you who don't understand my scoring system, I do 1 out of 10. Anything 5 or below, I wouldn't recommend even seeing. Anything 6 or 7, I could say you could watch maybe 1 time without considering it a waste of your time. 8 to 10, yeah, I'd recommend seeing it. maybe more than once. But I'd give this film a 6 out of 10. Well, that's all. Thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, like, subscribe, comment down below, let me know what you think. If you know of any good escape rooms, let me know. I'm actually interested in trying one out now. It's at least one good positive I can take away from this film. Well, till next time.